Hello, welcome to Provoking Safety. My name's Kevin Barrett. I'm a health and safety professional. This is my channel, the channel where we think, talk, and do safety with the intention of provoking it at home and in the workplace. It's the aim of this channel to make safety easier to understand, simpler, more practicable. That's a fancy word for doable. Now, if you have a passion for health and safety, or you're new to it, or you're thinking of entering the career, why not click that subscribe button, ding the bell. You'll get notified of new content when I put new content up on this channel. Also, do me a favor, if you enjoy the content, can you click the like button? I appreciate it, and it also helps drive that YouTube algorithm so my videos get watched more. I appreciate it. Now, today, this is the third installment in the Incident Investigation Theory and Practice series. And, want to answer a few questions like who should be investigating? Who needs to do what at the incident scene? What should I do before I get to the incident scene, or how should I be prepared? Before you run your first investigation, or if you've run a few investigations and you want to get better, there's a few things that you should consider. I'm going to answer all of these questions and give you some suggestions of things to do before your first investigation or before your next investigation. Let's get started. Point 1. The question always gets asked, who should be investigating? Well, if you leave it to a lot of the information sites on health and safety, the pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller, pretty much dwindles down to just a chosen few. Rightly so. Incident investigations are intricate and full of pitfalls for the brand new investigator or the beginner, but that doesn't mean that you can't start somewhere. And in fact, if you've been designated as the person that's the point person for looking after health and safety for your organization, then you should be involved with every single investigation. You just need to know your limitations and how to work around them. Now, there's a lot of courses available to you. I suggest that you look into them. If not, and if that's beyond your means at this point, stick with this channel because I'll be adding new videos on incident investigation, the theory and practice, as we go along. Now, to answer the question of who should be involved in the investigation, one thing to consider is that depending on the severity or the impact or the magnitude of the incident, you may be playing second or third fiddle. It all depends. If the incident is considered a reportable incident, I've mentioned reportable incidents in another video. You can click on the link up here and have a look at it. I suggest you come back as soon as you can, though. Then you know what? You're going to have to report it to your OHS authority, and they're going to want to be involved, or they may indicate their involvement. The other thing to consider is if that reportable incident has included a fatality or a very severe injury or a possible criminal activity, then local law enforcement is going to be involved as well. Now, it doesn't mean that you'll be pushed to the side, but your involvement may be limited and it may be prescribed by those authorities. You're going to have to just check with your local authorities and find out. I can't tell you for every single jurisdiction in Canada or the United States, but you're going to have to question your local authority and find out. The next point to consider is, as far as who goes, is you. What is your skill level? What is your experience level? What is your expertise? It's an important thought because often during incident investigations, incident investigators are going to be called upon to do a lot of different things. One of them in particular is material sampling. If you are unfamiliar with material sampling, or the material you're dealing with is something you've never had experience sampling before, or you're inexperienced with the idea and notion of chain of custody until that material gets to the lab, then you know what? There's some considerations that need to take place. Stick with me. I'll address more of them as we go along. The other thing you have to be aware of as an incident investigator is the work processes at the scene. If you're not aware of the equipment, machinery, the materials, or the work processes, you're going to have to call for some help. Now, one of the things that happens a lot of times is health and safety professionals profess to know too many things. That's not the case. We are not the be-all to end-all of everything. So be humble and make sure that you let people know where your expertise lies and where you have room to learn. Now, there's additional skills that you're going to have to brush up on: how to use a camera, how to use different measuring devices, and of course, sketching the scene and measuring the scene. All of these I'll have a look at in a later video, but I want to get to the next point. Who needs to do what? Once again, talking about your skill level. Considering your own skill level, do you need to consider making a list of health and safety professionals that are skilled investigators or hygienists that are familiar with sampling, engineers, etc.? It's a good idea to have that list on hand and some processes to engage these people. If you're unfamiliar with the machinery or the equipment or some of the machinery or the equipment in your job site, either get an in-service and get some brief instruction on it, or make sure that you have a list of people at hand that you can call upon to assist. One thing to consider is area supervisors or department supervisors within your organization. They should be called upon to help with the investigation as possible, and they also may know the equipment. If not, they can designate people. One of the things you might do is get a checklist together of the people to call upon when an incident occurs. Now, this checklist doesn't need to be super intricate, but you should have names of your Occupational Health and Safety Committee membership or the worker representative and their contact numbers. You should have names and contact numbers for all of the area supervisors within your organization. You also should have the toll-free 24-hour reporting number for your local OHS authority, and of course that list of third-party professionals. Now, keep in mind, incident sites can become pretty crowded and pretty hectic pretty much as soon as they occur. You need to limit the amount of people that are there. So don't go calling everybody right away. In fact, wait till you get to the incident scene and then make your calls and notifications once you get there. I'll be making a video on some of the initial arrangements that you can make once you get the phone call and summoning to an incident. But till then, just keep note that you should be the one delegating and designating who should be in the incident site, not somebody else. Of course, you want to make sure that you follow any prescribed lists that you have to have, and I'm talking about union agreements. It's pretty important. Rather than dealing with a breakdown in communications or a breakdown in relationships, consider your union agreement, what they have prescribed for any incident scenes. They may want worker representation there as soon as the investigation begins, so make sure that you have that added to your process. So what do you need to do before you head off? I know you get the call and you want to rush off. And of course, things like your PPE, your hard hat, your vest, your steel-toe boots, any gloves, eye protection, all of that stuff, hearing protection should be a consideration immediately. But you get there and you don't want to get caught short-handed. So what do you need to do? Well, consider having something like this, a backpack full of the gear. Now, I'm going to have a list down below in the description of what you should have as a minimum in your backpack, your investigation kit, shall we call it. But there's two main points that I want to talk about for the kit. First off, this. Phone or camera? Which do we do? Now, a lot of you, most people will have a smartphone that's capable, and this is an older iPhone, but most will have a smartphone that's capable of taking some very awesome video and very awesome pictures. I have an iPhone, not this one, this is an old one, but I have an iPhone that takes really good pictures. However, it's my personal phone. If I go to an accident scene, I'll either bring one of my digital SLRs or a compact camera like this. Now, the reason I do this is because I can pop out, oops, I just turned it on. Well, we'll turn it off. I can pop out an SD card and give it to somebody should the request occur. You have to remember that law enforcement or OHS authorities can request electronic data. They can request pictures from you. Now, most of the time, what I've had is, hey, here's my business card. Can you email me that picture, and that picture? In fact, all of the OHS authorities that I've ever dealt with are awesome folks, and it's never been an issue. However, rather than have to deal with something or worry about losing your phone or the company phone or anything else, I would suggest a point and shoot with a good SD card that you can hand off should you need to. Keep in mind, you might want to copy them first before your pictures first before you do that. But at least you're not going to lose your phone for an extended amount of time. Once again, though, if your company says they've given you a smartphone that's really good, then fine, it's a company phone, but at least you're not losing your personal phone. On to the next point. Something else that's very helpful, and I'll dig into my magic kit here. Actually, it's not magic, it's just a backpack, is this, a clipboard. A clipboard is, profit people? Nah, safety first. But a clipboard is awesome. You can set it on the ground, you can write on it, you can hold it. It's a hard surface to write on. It can hold numerous amounts of paper, and you can load it up with just some plain blank paper, some line paper, some graph paper. So you have it available to you, along with some pens, pencils, etc. But one of the other things you can do is you can give yourself a quick checklist for an incident scene, especially if you're a new person and a beginner. There's nothing wrong with having a checklist. All of us forget something at one time or another. Just a quick refresher, on that checklist, you want to have your contact list there right away. You want to have, just as a refresher, the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee representatives or the worker representative and their contact information, area supervisors and their contact numbers, the local OHS authority and their reporting number, and of course, any third-party professionals that you may need. Okay, just rather than having to worry about that, or rather than having to go through your contacts on the phone, they're there right off the bat. Okay, easy for you. It's kind of old-fashioned, but old-fashioned also works. Just to close, this is the TBDW. Too busy, didn't have time to watch. Understandable, got it. I'm going to sort all of this, and there'll be chapters, and you can just click on the points that you want to. But this is just a quick summary. Number one, know your limitations, know your skill level and experience level. You can augment it by having a process in place to engage third parties such as skilled OHS professionals or hygienists. Know in advance who to call. Have a checklist with names and numbers so that when something occurs, you can have their contact information and you can contact them in the order of need so that you don't have a huge crowded scene and you don't have a lot of people there that you have to manage. Finally, have an investigation kit that's stocked up and ready to go so that you aren't making trips back and forth to the construction trailer or your office and just doing half a job. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to bringing you the next video. Do me a favor once again, if you like it, click that like button. If you didn't, by all means, you can smash that unlike button. But do me a favor, let me know why. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button. Ding the bell, you'll get notified of new content. Meanwhile, until we meet again, think safety, talk safety, do safety, provoke it at home and in the workplace. Take care. Bye for now.